Welcome to the very first episode of CandidCast in 2025 or ever, and this is how we're going to do it. This is going to be the studio for now. We are at Radio Laafveld 100.5 FM studios for the time being until we can build our own studio, but we couldn't be bothered for this show. I'm very excited. It's CandidCast, and we have candid guests, people who speak the truth, people who don't mind speaking the truth in studio with us throughout the year. We're looking forward to it. Our very first guest, Dr. Anthony Wake. We're going to do the formalities first, and then we'll go back to Tony and Neels. Like, we've been wanting to do this for years. How long has it been? It's been everything since what does it mean to be a real man, to Krav Maga and fights, and when not to fight and when to fight. But welcome, Tony, to CandidCast, episode number 1.
Yay!
Yay! Can you believe it?
Number 1, we're here.
You are number 1. So, okay, we are asking the question this morning, is the world hypnotized? And the reason you're in studio to answer this question is because you have obtained your PhD in behavioral science.
Yeah, behavioral science, and also specifically in metaphysical hypnosis. Yeah, I'm not going to unpack all of that because then the whole episode is going to be done, but basically behavioral science specializing in metaphysical hypnosis.
So the idea with this podcast series is to ask hard-hitting questions, to be straight with someone and to ask them difficult and uncomfortable questions. I think that perhaps today you might make me a little bit uncomfortable when it comes to this hypnosis stuff and so on, because we've got questions when it comes to hypnosis, and we have certain ideas of hypnosis where someone gets up on a stage and then they are hypnotized by looking at the hand and looking at the face, and they little go to sleep, and then the next thing you know, you're on video acting like a chicken or laughing your ass off at the word pink or whatever the case might be. So what is hypnosis essentially?
It's the bypass of the critical faculty, in a nutshell. That's
it. Well, we can end the show right there.
Yeah. And is the world hypnotized? Yes, the show's done. It's been fun.
Yeah. The answer is yes.
The answer is yes. So, hypnosis, in a nutshell, it goes deeper than that, but in a nutshell, it's the bypass of the critical faculty, your judging mind. I can ask you, is something right? Is something wrong? Is it good? Is it bad? And you're going to go through a process of judgment.
All these things we've learned and been programmed through
based
over
on
the
your
years.
Personality, based on your experiences in life and your upbringing and the people you've been surrounded with your entire life, you're going to have different rules. And based on those rules, that's how you judge if something is right and if something is wrong, if it's good, if it's bad, if I should, if I shouldn't. And going through all of that, it's a conscious thing, where hypnosis is bypassing the conscious. It's operating in the unconscious mind, which means there's no instant judgments. There's still a concept of right and wrong. Pardon the pun, but don't get me wrong. There's still the concept of right and wrong because values are different to beliefs.
So even under hypnosis, I can still stick to my core values, and I have all my subconscious mind in that factor has the idea or the ability to say, no, I don't consent, or I don't agree. So that's the first misconception out of the way already, that hypnosis can make you do anything.
Yeah, you're always in control. Even under hypnosis, you are in control. The whole thing of I have no control when I'm under hypnosis, it's poppycock. It's BS. I know when I used to do stage shows, many years ago. Not going to go into that, but when I did stage shows, part of your induction, part of your pre-talk, I would explain to the people, I cannot take a nun and bring her on stage and hypnotize her to be a pole dancer. If she's going to believe, hold on. If she's going to believe in her core values that she's going straight to hell the moment she does that, no matter the amount of suggestion that I give her, she's not going to play along. She's not going to allow herself to do that. Her value system will block it.
Okay.
However, if that same nun secretly wanted to be a pole dancer and her value system allows for that to be a possibility, Hypnosis is going to be the cop-out. It's going to be the reason of, I was under hypnosis. I didn't know what I was doing. And he's going to jump up on that pole and swing around and have fun. And, regardless of the judgment from her peers then.
Okay, well, have you done that? No, we'll get to the moment of truth. We'll get to the moment of truth a little bit later. But it's a very specific, that's a very, very specific sort of an idea of what could be done. Can anyone be hypnotized?
Well, it comes down to the concept of what is hypnosis. And let me dig deeper into that and then see if you can answer this question yourself. Hypnosis is the bypass of the critical faculty.
Sure.
So let's use an example. If I tell you, don't think of a blue tree.
Okay, I did. Yeah.
And now...
That's manipulation.
No, well, yes.
Yes.
But we're going to unpack manipulation then as well.
This is going to be a long podcast.
Oh, this is going to be fun already. I can see how the deck is being stacked. If I ask you, don't think of whatever. Don't think of a black cat. Don't think of a blue tree. Don't think of a pink lion, or whatever the case might be. Someone might say, okay, I thought of a green tree. Okay, how did you know to think of a tree, and how did you know to change the color?
Suggestion. Yeah.
So in order for the mind to negate, to not think of something, it has to have a concept of what to not think of. Like, don't think of a blue tree. In order for you to think of a green tree or something else, I need to have something in my mind to compare my thoughts in order to not think of it, which is why we say the brain or the mind cannot negate, cannot think in the negative. Now, language. What is language? So I'm making sounds.
Sounds, yeah.
These sounds are traveling through the airwaves and through digital media, and it's hitting your senses. And you're taking these sounds, and you're turning the sounds into words, and you're turning the words into sentences, and based on the sentence structure, you're adding meaning to those things. And based on the meaning that you add onto it, you are in essence decoding the sounds that I'm spewing, and it's inside your mind. Are you consciously thinking of what does the word green mean?
No.
What does the word purple mean?
There's a basic understanding with regards to that before we even get to the point of thinking about it.
Understanding. And it's said that I put people under hypnosis, isn't it?
So yes, everyone can be
Language
hypnotized.
is a form of hypnosis because it happens unconsciously. By the time you think of not to think of something, I'm already inside your head and you're already hearing my voice. Because you're not hearing my voice here, you're hearing it here.
Yes. So there's so many things that happen in such a short amount of time. When after the sound waves enter the brain, there's a mediation process that takes place, and then do I understand the language that this person is speaking? Do I understand or feel comfortable with their voice? So is it then possible, seeing that we have answered the question that yes, the world is under hypnosis, is it then possible that some people are more susceptible for hypnosis or to be put under hypnosis from certain people? You and I think a lot alike, therefore I understand you a little bit better. Is that then an indication that I would be more prone to being able to be hypnotized by you?
Correct, because there's a deeper level of rapport. The rapport goes, it's also a topic in itself. Most people think, if you look at NLP and what NLP teaches, and that rapport is people like people who are like themselves. The more we have in common, the deeper the rapport is. Yes, that's true. But there's also a form of authoritative rapport, which means if I go to a doctor in a white trench coat, I'm going to immediately put them in a higher authoritative position.
Submit to their knowledge, yeah.
If I walk into a study hall and there's a teacher or a lecturer or a professor or somebody, I'm there to learn from them, which means I'm putting them in an authoritative position. So that authoritative position means that there's already a level of rapport. Because they're there to perform a function, I'm there to perform a function. Their function is to teach, my function is to learn, and because of us understanding each other's function, there's a level of rapport. It's called authoritative rapport. There's a reason why I'm mentioning this. We're going to get to this in a bit. Between you and myself, there's an understanding, a knowing, a friendship rapport, because we think alike, we have similar interests, we have a similar sense of humor.
Which is dark and terrible, by the way, but okay.
That topic.
We will have Tony back on the show once the show is more established, and then we can actually say what we want. But for today, we're going to unpack this hypnosis thing.
Ease people into
it.
Right.
So, by the way, subscribe and leave a comment down below for when we get Tony back on the show as you are listening to this, and ask questions that you want us to discuss with him in future, because the guy knows his stuff. Can we build up a resistance? So I don't want to be manipulated. I don't want to fall under the trance of what the media is dictating at the moment, which I think we should unpack as well. This is a long question. Can we build up a resistance to hypnosis, or being put in a trance, or what that means in a daily life, what we do on a daily basis?
I get asked this question a lot, since everybody is in a constant state of unconsciousness. I mean, you have consciously, you've only got 2,000 bits of information, which means 2,000 pieces of information running through that you're consciously aware of. Cognitively, it's the 5 plus minus, the 7 plus minus 2, between 5 and 9 pieces of information that you're cognitively aware of. Consciously, 2,000. Unconsciously, it's anything from, it depends on who you ask, 4 billion to 400 billion pieces per second. And so you're in a constant state of unconsciousness. There are constantly things that you are unaware of. So yes, you're in a constant state of hypnosis, so to speak. Because hypnosis is anything that happens unconsciously.
Which is where most of our thinking and living takes place.
How are you breathing right now?
No, it's a subconscious thing. Heart beating, breathing, liver processing toxins.
So now,
not today, but sometimes.
How sneaky is this? If I were to say to you, if you were to notice where you are breathing.
I mean, where in the body you are breathing?
Yeah, are you breathing in your
shallow?
throat, or are you breathing in your stomach? And the more you notice where you're breathing, you might begin to notice how the breathing is moving more towards the stomach, and you're breathing deeper, and that causes you to relax, doesn't it?
No, you're suggesting that it relaxes, and therefore it will relax. I don't know how the mind works exactly, but you have spoken about putting yourself in a trance before. You know, just the other day we had a conversation about sleep, and then you said, you know, I just put myself in a trance and then I'm able to sleep a little bit better. How does a trance work, and is it necessary to be in a trance to be hypnotized or to be under hypnosis?
You're in a constant state of hypnosis. Trance is optional. That's the scary thing of it. Scary in the sense of you get those who are highly suggestible, even in a quote-unquote waking state, and those who are less suggestible. But everybody has a certain level of suggestion, which means everybody can and do go into hypnosis, to put that out there for those who've been holding
The world is hypnotized. Yes, it's a fact.
People
We've
are
answered that question.
But I don't ever go into hypnosis. And no, you're not going to catch me, Dr. Wake. Yeah, I'm not here to catch you. You know, it's not about I'm going to show you how more clever I am. It's none of that, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde nonsense. Hypnosis is a natural occurring state. It's the state when you just wake up in the morning and you're half asleep and half awake and you're not sure if you're awake or dreaming, and did I hear that? That is when your brain is in an alpha state. Between theta is when you're unconscious. Alpha is when you're half conscious, half asleep. It's like beta is when you're awake,
wide awake.
I'm awake.
Conscious.
That's beta state of mind. Alpha is when you're in between. Theta is I'm unconscious, and delta state is down below, gone, sleep. Somnambulism occurs there.
Okay, I've got so many questions, but I think we should. This is going to take a long time.
Part one of the show is. So yes, you can be hypnotized. Everybody does get hypnotized on a daily basis. The same thing when you wake up in the morning. The same thing happens when you go to sleep at night. You pass through a hypnagogic state. Hypnagogic. In my books, it's the same thing. The suggestibility state, where the consciousness begins to quote unquote switch off and you become more unconscious when you go into the sleep state. Okay. It's a necessity, because it's when your brain takes your short-term memory and stores it into long-term memory, and when you allow your unconscious that operates your body, by the way, to heal your body, to put, and regulate all your organs and all those things. So hypnosis is a given. Everybody does go through hypnosis at least twice a day. When you're driving a car, if you've done it repetitively, you're not thinking anymore. It's habit. A lot of people who tell me, this is now I'm going to talk about smoking before people keep the video on.
Don't scroll away. Maybe this is a good time to introduce our sponsor for this video before we get to the smoking part.
Yeah, let's talk about the sponsor before they switch the video off.
This episode is sponsored by Bulldog Internet Service Providers. I've been a loyal customer of theirs for many years. Let's have a look at what they have to offer. Bulldog Internet Services Provider. Your number one internet service provider in Barberton, Nelspruit, White River, Ermelo, Breyten, Carolina and more. Home internet packages from R275 per month and business internet packages from R770 per month. Bulldog Internet Services Provider, bbisp.co.za or visit bbisp.co.za. So, smoking. Don't switch off your TV. Don't switch off your phone. Yeah. This is an auto-suggestion.
This is an auto-suggestion to focus and listen. A lot of people who tell me that smoking is a habit are mistaken. A habit is
This is for the highlights reel, by the way. Yeah.
Everything that happens unconsciously is a habit. Right?
But you have to physically do the whole thing.
So if you blink and all of a sudden there's a lit cigarette in your finger and how the hell did that happen? Oh, well, it's there.
Yeah, I might as well. Yeah.
That is a habit. But if you are in the habit of making the choice to take out the packets or the vape or whatever, light that thing or change the batteries and vape the thing or take a drag, it's not unconscious anymore. Then it's a choice. Then it's not a habit. A habit is unconscious operation. Habit.
This is a whole podcast on its own about the choices and the habits, and then the addictions and the choices we make with
smoking is an addiction.
Yeah,
it's not a habit. I know. Like I said, this is a hardcore one. People are like, no, but I'm not an addict and I can stop whenever I want to. Said every addict ever. Right?
Yeah.
So a lot of my clients come to me to quit smoking or to lose weight. Again, losing weight, I'm in the habit of eating junk food. I'm like, oh, did you walk out by the till and all of a sudden, where did all these chocolates come from?
Accidentally fell on a hamburger with my mouth open.
Exactly. Yeah.
All the time.
All the time. Repeat. Somebody force fed you that hamburger, man.
It happens. I've seen it.
So this comes back to self, or what we call auto-suggestion, the self-hypnosis aspect. When you asked me earlier, when you struggle to go to sleep, I was like, let's put myself in a trance. It's called auto-hypnosis, means self. Hetero-hypnosis is when I hypnotize someone else. Auto-hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So if I hypnotize myself, remember, whether I hypnotize someone else or whether I hypnotize myself, what the mind expects to happen tends to be realized. If I expect something to happen, and my belief and value system backs that up. Emotion, where where attention goes, energy flows. Emotion, energy in motion. So if my emotion is backing up through my beliefs and my values to my expectation, the chances of that occurring is a lot higher than it not occurring. Now we're getting into the basis of behavioral analysis. Any behavior, those are the 3 points. Like when a ship enters a harbor, you've got a light on the front part of the ship, you've got a light by the harbor, a light by the spotlight.
Yeah.
What do you call the light?
On the tower.
Yeah.
The lighthouse.
The lighthouse. Thank you. So you've got a light by the lighthouse, you've got a light by the ship, and you've got a light in the harbor. And when you align those 3, you're heading in the right direction.
Cool. Yes.
Whether there's storms, whether there's not, you're looking to align those 3, and you're heading in the right direction. Same thing with behavior. If my beliefs and values are aligned with my emotion that I experience, which is aligned with my expectation, my outcome, my behavior will align.
And the outcome will then...
And your outcome is basically a definite. Come hell, come high water, come storm, come excuses. That's why mental toughness is one of the things that I teach clients. We can go into a future episode on mental toughness and how to develop that. Mental toughness, despite the excuses, despite the coulda, woulda, shoulda, and all of that, what are your values and beliefs? In other words, know who you are. Secondly, what do I want? In other words, my outcome.
Yes.
And then what am I willing to do? How am I going to get there? That's the behavior. And those 3 need to be aligned.
You make it sound so simple.
I can't say I wanna lose 20 kilograms of body fat and gain 5 kilograms of muscle mass, and I treat myself to a cheeseburger every night with a 2-liter Coke. My values might be strong, my outcome might be there, but if my behavior is completely out the window, it's... Yes.
How can we then use hypnosis to our advantage? Someone who doesn't know anything about hypnosis, seeing something like this for the first time, how can I use that to my advantage? You said earlier that, if you want to be a little bit tougher with regards to the susceptibility to hypnosis, then you have to know more about it. Can we use this knowledge that we are building up now with you to use it to our own personal gain advantage?
Of course.
How do we do that?
Well, pardon my language, and cover your ears or beat this out if you want, but stop the bullshit that you're telling yourself. It comes down to stopping the bullshit. Your narrative, your story that you're telling yourself is the thing that is standing in your way.
But it's the world's fault. It's the economy. It's the situation at home. I'm not getting any breaks in life. I'm not, some people are just lucky. It's all those excuses that we have that makes it difficult to do this type of thing. How do we break through that? How do we get a breakthrough?
Stop the bullshit. If what you're doing isn't working, then do something else. I can't keep running into a wall and expecting it to turn into a door. If I run hard enough, maybe, depending on the material of the wall and how hard my head is. But I can't expect it to turn into a door just by me running into it. And unfortunately, this is the reality that we live in. Most people expect the world to change to accommodate me.
Yes.
But so few are willing to change themselves for themselves.
Okay, we're using a lot of parodies here today now. So change yourself for yourself. Let's focus on that for a minute, because there's this on the internet. It's been many, many years, for as long as I think the internet's been around and memes have been around. There's this little guy with an axe, and he's digging, and 1 centimeter before the big diamond, he stops. And now what I hear you are saying is that don't keep digging, because you're going in the wrong direction, because you're not getting results.
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay, so explain the difference between perseverance, like the guy who gets, everyone knows what that little picture looks like. There's this guy digging towards this diamond and he stops just before, and what you are saying is that what you are doing isn't working for you, do something else. How do we get that perseverance and then make changes in the way that we do things as well?
So I want you to imagine that same picture, and it's about perspective. Imagine you're that little guy in the tunnel.
Dark. Yeah.
Did you do anything wrong?
No.
You're in the tunnel, you kept digging, and you just ran out of steam. From the viewpoint of the viewer who's looking at the picture.
Yeah, it's obvious. Yeah.
Like, come on, man, you were so close. And we think, oh, the guy made a mistake. He didn't think he made a mistake because in his experience, from his perspective, he didn't know how close or how far he was. Which is why mastermind groups, which is why surrounding yourself with the right people are so important. From working with companies, from working with individuals, that's why we hire coaches, that's why we hire consultants. If I'm stuck in it, then I have one viewpoint. Surrounding yourself with the right people gives you different perspectives, gives you different viewpoints, because you're going to miss stuff. It doesn't matter how clever you are, doesn't matter how many PhDs you have, it does not matter how successful you think you are or aren't, you need to be surrounded by the right people. If you're surrounded by the wrong people, it's also going to steer you in a different way, because everybody is susceptible to suggestion. To get back to the hypnosis aspect. If I place somebody in a high authority, and I'm surrounded by people who I place in a high authoritative position, if they give me feedback and input to my actions and my results that I'm getting, and they tell me, listen, Tony, do this rather, or that was right, just change it a little bit, am I going to listen to them? Am I going to do it if I put them in high authority position? Am I going to listen to them?
Yes.
Of course I am.
Yes. Because
I place them in high authority. Now I do what they tell me. I get different results, and based on the results I get, they're either going to tell me you did it right or that's not what I meant. And if they keep giving me input that leads nowhere, what's going to happen to my viewpoint on them with their authority in my life?
It's going to diminish, obviously. Yeah.
Because the moment you question something, it loses its value. Because I'm going to start questioning, is this person really knowledgeable? Are they just leading me by the nose? Is it true? Is it not? And thus forth. If they give me feedback and it does make a massive change in my life, now I've placed them on a higher authority because, oh man, this
stuff works. This guy knows what he's talking about.
So placing them on a higher authority gives them more clout in my life, more power and authority in my life. So understanding that, you asked earlier, how do we guard ourselves to not be so suggestible, to be not be so hypnotizable, which is suggestible in everyday life? And it comes down to critical thinking.
Okay, that's what I wanted to get to. Critical thinking. Discern for yourself. Is it?
Yeah, discernment forms part of it, but critical thinking, a lot of people say, oh, you're so critical. As like it's
it'll never work. I've criticized this and it'll never work.
Yeah, this is. Have you attempted it many times? Have you done it once?
I've done everything.
Everything.
I've done everything. You've listened to people who try to stop smoking. We're back to that. You listen to people who try to lose weight, and then you get to the point of I've tried every diet. I've tried every patch. I've tried every chewing gum. I've tried vaping. And these are just some of the examples. And I've tried everything is the answer that you hear. But obviously you haven't, because it hasn't worked.
Exactly. Tried is the problem right there. Because trying presupposes failure. Listen to the linguistics.
Trying presupposes failure. Yes.
If I tell you...
I'll try my best.
Try. If I tell you, okay, listen, Neels, let's get up and let's try to fit through the door at the same time. What mental image comes to mind? if we're going to try to fit through the door at the same time.
You're going to get hurt because I'm going to go through first. I don't know.
But can you see how you're making a mental image of it not
It's not going to happen, yeah.
You start making mental images of it not occurring. So the moment you use the word try, mentally, you've set up a belief system of it not occurring. Remember what I said earlier, beliefs, action, expectation. So the moment you say try, you're self-sabotaging. I've tried everything. I've heard it many times from clients. I'm like, well, imagine. There's your problem. Stop trying, start doing.
So how do we get rid of this try mentality? Because the next question I actually wanted to ask you is digressing a little bit away from hypnosis and going towards this success mentality. Why do certain people, let's talk about the Elon Musks of the world, the Jeff Bezoses, and et cetera, why do certain people have the same amount of time, have an average to high intelligence, maybe that plays a role, but why with the same amount of time, 85 years on Earth, 24 hours a day, achieve these amounts of huge success, and others who try, which is probably part of the answer, but who are honestly working hard, who are putting their life's work into doing something, and they don't really reach success? Is it luck? Is there a law of average that dictates that? Is it that person's mentality? This could be the teaching moment for this podcast. What makes someone successful above everyone else?
I say it's not about success, because my success and your success are different levels. If we're talking about financial success, that person, the Elon Musks of the world and the Jeff Bezos of the world, have got a higher degree of understanding money, finances. They understand where and how to invest. They have a different network than what you might have. So they have insider information on when and how and where to invest and have their money make more money for them. If we're talking about financial success. If we're talking about skills, as in, am I successful when I have a specific amount of skills? How much effort are you putting in to learn those skills? And it doesn't matter how many times, and this is now, it's been used so often. Doesn't matter how many times.
Get ready for a cliche.
Doesn't matter how many times you fall. It matters how many times you get up and all that. Rah, let's swallow another motivational book stuff. It comes down to what's the guy's name?
Stick with us, because we're going to ask Tony a question, the moment of truth, which is going to be in every episode. So while he's gathering his thoughts.
I've got a hole in my head now. One of the richest businessmen, old guy now.
Warren Buffett.
Thank you.
Yes.
See, mine, same mind level. What Warren Buffett said, fail forward.
Yes.
It's not about the failing. Everybody fails. But asking yourself, what did I learn? How did I improve because of this experience? Don't call it a failure. Call it an experience. What did it teach me? How am I better because of it? And now, if
we learn from mistakes, all those cliches.
So people are like, oh no, my business partner stole 2 million from me, and I kicked me out of my own company, and this and that, and the next thing. What did you learn? Yes, it was an expensive learning experience, but what did you learn? This can either be the end of your business venture or of your business success or of your financial freedom, or you can use that and turn it to your advantage. One of my mentors, Jordan Belfort, Wolf of Wall Street.
Yes.
I mean, the guy lost everything, got locked up for 8 years. And what did he do when he got out? He turned all of that into such a massive success. He made more money after the fact than he did before the time. Well, I can't say more money, but legitimate money, and he's not living a bad life. So he could have just I lost everything and I'm a disgrace, and it's just, whoop, and sad story and end of it. But he turned it into a win, and movies were made from it, and books were written by it, and that to me is a success. So it's your choice, and again, it comes down to the suggestion of it. What are your values? What's your belief system? Are you worth it? do you, and that's the core crux of it, from developmental phase up to, teenage years, up to young adult, your whole life through. Are you worth it? Do you believe at your core that you are worth it? If you believe that, this world is just for the Jeff Bezos out there and the Elon Musks and I'm just a cog in the wheel, and how much effort are you actually going to put in to becoming a level of success that you can be? And you ask me, what's the difference between the Elon Musks and the Jeff Bezos of the world? And when Jeff Bezos started Amazon, he sold books, physical books.
Yep.
And when they asked him, so what stops people from buying or going to the library, and he's like, comfort. So he wasn't selling books.
Comfort.
He was selling comfort.
It's like the drive-thrus. So easy to do it.
And he understood from that point that and that's why books turned into CDs and books and CDs turned into videos later on, and then DVDs, and then he started selling anything. Because it was not about the product, it was about the experience, the comfort that he was giving people.
A revolution, online shopping. So selling comfort then is a form of hypnosis.
Well, hypnosis is communication. Comfort simply means what's the value that Jeff Bezos, remember we talked about values and beliefs. So what is the value that he sold to? People value comfort. And that's what he sold to.
Comfort, speedy results, this instant gratification world that we live in at the moment. Speaking of instant gratification, this in every show is going to be a moment of truth, which is a moment where no matter what, you cannot lie. Before I ask you the question, do you agree to speaking the absolute truth in this?
I promise to speak the truth and
the whole truth.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Okay, so here's our question.
Okay.
Dr. Anthony Wake.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be a serious moment.
Okay.
Have you ever hypnotized someone without their consent for your own personal gain?
For my own personal gain?
Yes.
I have hypnotized somebody against their consent, yes.
But for someone else's personal gain?
Well, it's a win-win. It's not just for my gain. I never do stuff just for me. It's always a win-win scenario. Can I tell you why?
Yes.
If I...
Justify.
Yeah, let's justify this. Whenever I teach hypnosis to students as well, hypnosis is a simultaneous thing. I don't put you in a trance. I go into the trance with you. Because a good hypnotist goes there first, and the hypnotee or the volunteer or the victim follows them into trance. Now, if all suggestion is self-suggestion, if I'm going to give you a suggestion that is detriment to your health, where am I filtering that suggestion first?
Myself.
So what am I suggesting to myself before I give it to you?
The same thing.
You see. So hence why understanding how the mind works, understanding how hypnosis works, I will never give anybody else a suggestion that's bad for them. It's always win-win.
Is it possible, though, that someone can hypnotize you for their own personal gain, or to or to do something bad to you?
Yes.
We're talking about
this
social media, are we?
This is now where I'm getting at. We can do multiple episodes on this if you want. For those who want to follow through with this, I'm actually doing a series of these on my own podcast.
Yes, please.
The Mind Walker Method.
The Mind Walker Method.
The Mind Walker Method.
It'll be here.
You can go look for the Mind Walker Method on Spotify, iTunes, all of those places. I'm doing a series on this, on hypnosis in different perspectives. This is now just to put it out here for you for the question you asked now. We're going to look at schools, how school is a form of indoctrination and hypnosis. I know, terrible, right? Churches, how certain religious organizations use hypnosis in their things. Politicians, how that, even doctors and dentists and those type of authority figures, how they use these things. And how you can inoculate yourself against it.
We'll have to get you back.
So, looking at that idea, like straight up, if you look at school systems, for example, you're asking now, how can somebody do people put you in a trance, a hypnotic state for their own betterment and not for yours? What happens when you enter school, the school system? There's the first, red flag system. Are you allowed to be an individual, or do you get put into
uniform? Okay.
You get put into a uniform. This is a round hole. You cannot be a square peg, right? You're not allowed to be an individual. You have to fit into the system. You will do what we tell you to. You will do how we tell you to do it.
Patriarchy and establishmentism. How's that?
The establishment. And they've hypnotized you to believe that, okay, going to school and going through the system is for your betterment. I'm going to remove your individualism. I'm going to remove your individualism. I'm going to remove your critical free thinking. I'm going to make you what I want you to be. I'm going to teach you what I want you to learn. You're going to behave how I tell you to behave, but it's for your own goodwill.
Shall we get Tony back to do this establishment or anti-establishment, anti-leftist, anti-woke scenario? Shall we get Tony back? Put a comment down below if you want Dr. Anthony Wake back on the CandidCast podcast show. It's been an hour, and we've only really touched the basis of this hypnosis thing, of where we go with it, or what's possible. Before we end off, I want to ask you two things. So the first thing is, I want you to give us something we can use on a daily basis, whether it be a stance or how to put ourselves into a more positive or authoritative trance to use this on a daily basis. So that's the one question. Give us a practical tip or a trick to do. I know there's no shortcuts. And we wanted to talk about therapeutic hypnotism as well. So if we can just we were talking about smoking and losing weight and that sort of stuff. What are some of the benefits of therapeutic hypnotism? And then we'll end this podcast there. We'll definitely get you back on.
100%. So I'll leave the tips for last. So watch to the end if you want tips you can use every day.
This is one of those hypnotic states that we're going to put you in. Watch till the end.
Watch till the end. Suggestibility.
Use the power of the enemy.
I've got a whole episode on in the establishment, in sales, how certain sales techniques work and how it's suggestible, but we'll get to that, like shops and adverts and those type of things. With regards to hypnotherapy, number one, there's no specific time frame. A lot of people think, okay, hypnosis is a magic pill. Take this and all your problems will be solved.
Snap your fingers and don't have the craving to smoke anymore.
The issue that I have with that, and this is now a personal issue, it's not my issue in general with regards to it. If I'm just going to go to a hypnotherapist and expect the hypnotherapist to snap his or her fingers and, fix my problem, what is my responsibility in it?
That's why we don't want that responsibility. We want you to snap your fingers and then I don't want to smoke anymore.
And then how easy is it going to be for you to just start smoking again?
That was the question. Does it fail?
Depends on the individual. I make my clients work in order to get over it. So that it's not just, listen, I pay you, fix me. You're not broken to begin with. You've got crappy decisions. Remember what we said about habits. You've got crappy decisions that you're making. And through hypnosis and other techniques that I use, I help you to make better decisions. But it's still you that have to make the decisions. I can't make them for you. So I change the language. I change the auto-hypnosis that they put themselves in. I give them tools and techniques that they can use. And then, after that, I put them in an unconscious state and I
reinforce,
I cement the change into their mind so that the unconscious runs it constantly. It's not just I snap my fingers and, okay, you're better now. The times in the past that I have done that, where I've just hypnotized somebody, got them over smoking or whatever, brought them back out and sent them on their merry way, within a few months they're back because they took no responsibility. It was so easy, so it's easy for them to just drift back into their comfort and say, I'm here for my hit.
Yeah.
And you've substituted one addiction for another. And to me, that goes against what it means to utilize this for improvement. I don't want to be your next addiction. I want to empower you to control your own life. Like I said, hypnosis is about control. You are always in control. And some of the stories out there of, but I wasn't in control and they made me do it. And yes and no. There is brain control and mind control techniques.
Teach me that.
We're going to have to ask a premium for that one. There are mind control techniques that you can forcibly use, and some politicians use these things.
The red tie and
there's suggestibility things that you can get into, and I'm talking about MK Ultra level stuff.
There's another whole podcast on its own.
Like you can get into these things, and it's knowledge that I can share specifically to help people, inoculate themselves against it. Narcissists use some of these hypnotic techniques naturally. They didn't go and study how to do it, but they realized through experience what works and what doesn't, and they naturally started doing these things. So it's stuff that we can look at. It's things we can look at. Yes, hypnosis does quote unquote fail to certain individuals that question the process. Remember, the moment you question something, it loses its value. The moment I become critical of something, my conscious mind is there. And the moment the conscious is involved, it's not unconscious. Then it's a choice. Makes sense.
There's a lot to unpack here. Now, Tony, snap your fingers and make us feel better so we can all get rid of this brain fog, get rid of all the information that's being pumped into us on a daily basis. Two
things that I want to give you that you can utilize on a daily basis. Okay. Number one, tonality. If you want more authority when you speak to other people, notice your tonality. Right? Throughout this whole podcast, I've kept my tonality a little bit higher pitch than normal. It comes across as more friendly.
Because you don't want to be as authoritative.
But now, if I were to speak in my normal voice that I normally speak to people with, and I imagine you had to listen to this whole podcast with me speaking in this voice, and I'm speaking neutral, and I'm speaking down, my tonality goes down. It's not as high energetic, and you'll feel yourself drifting, you're not paying attention, because it becomes more subliminal, becomes more unconscious. This is my normal rate of speech. This is the way I normally speak. Can't do that in a podcast. You need to lift it, and in that you become a little bit more, energetic, and it keeps people focused and focused on what you're saying. However, if you want to be more authoritative, when you want to be more authoritative, slow your speech down, and also speak from here.
Use your lower voice.
The moment you speak lower, notice if I tell you, Neels, when was the last time you felt really happy?
Happy.
And if I ask you, Neels, when was the last time you felt really happy?
Yeah, there's a whole different meaning to that.
It's like it hits you in the gut of happy, it's like deep. No, it's not just like, oh yeah, when I had my cup of coffee.
It's thought-provoking.
Yeah, it's not just when I had my coffee this morning. It's a thing of, holy crap, man, like when I was really happy. It brings out a whole different realm of possibilities when you can control your voice tone. So notice how you speak. Many of the folks, when I teach them about public speaking, when I teach them about like CEOs and MDs and guys, when I teach them about authoritative, do you know how many people question when they speak? And I just did it there at the end.
I did. Why did you do that?
Because the moment that you heighten your tonality at the end, doesn't matter what you're saying, it sounds like you're asking a question the whole time, doesn't it? And you lose authority in that. So pay attention to how you speak. And it doesn't mean that, okay, now I've got to go out and like analyze every single sentence that I say it.
Yes.
Just notice when you speak to other individuals and they start drifting off. Notice, what was my tonality just before they drifted off? Was I asking a question or was I just giving a statement? And then to demand authority without being demanding, lower your tonality. If I ask you, hi, can I ask you a question? Right? But if I go to and I like, and I look at you and I say, pardon me, if I were to ask you a question, where's your attention all of a sudden?
Yes.
It's like I'm demanding the attention without being demanding. Tonality is the first thing. And the second thing that you can utilize, which is, this is like with everything, right?
Here's the golden nugget.
It's your breathing. Two things of breathing. Where do you breathe and how do you breathe? If you're breathing up here most of the time and you're in your chest, and now I'm tapping the mic, so it's going to be like, if you're breathing up here and you're in your chest most of the time, you're going to have anxiety because we're not designed to breathe up here. You can hear it in the voice tone as well. It's tense, and you're breathing up here. So whenever you feel tense or stress or anything like that, I want you to consciously push your breathing and start breathing from your diaphragm. And to breathe from your diaphragm, you'll automatically adjust your posture.
Relax.
You'll automatically feel yourself relaxing. You'll automatically begin to breathe deeper, which means your body is telling your brain,
we're out of danger.
I'm not in danger. It's not fight or flight. I'm getting enough oxygen. Everything is fine. And you'll automatically relax. And notice that just by doing that, your tonality has shifted automatically. You speak slower, you speak deeper, just by changing your own breathing. Like I said earlier, a good hypnotist goes there first, and the hypnotee follows them under. So now, as you're watching this, how relaxed are you feeling right now?
Incredible. Dr. Anthony Wake, where can we find you? What are some of the social media handles and links we can find you on? Let's dig deeper into this thing of hypnosis.
Right. If you want to, like I said, my podcast is the Mindwalker Method. You can just search for Mindwalker Method. If you want to look for me on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, or I recently got a TikTok channel as well. I haven't populated it yet, but we're getting there. Just look for at the Tony Wake.
At the Tony Wake.
Yeah. YouTube, Firefox. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all of those places is at the Tony Wake, and then my website is tonywake.com.
We'll put everything down below here as well in a link. Whatever platform you are watching or listening this on, thank you so much for tuning into CandidCast today. More episodes on the way, and we're definitely going to get you back in studio, Tony. We must get you back in studio.
There's a lot to unpack.
There's still so much we need to do.
I'm looking forward to it.
We'll
Thanks,
see you
Neels.
soon on the next episode of CandidCast.